In the tumultuous era of the 1930s, the world stood on the brink of catastrophe. The globe was still healing from the scars of the Great War, but the seeds of another conflict were being sown. Society was swinging like a pendulum, caught between the hope of peace and the dread of another war. The world was dancing on the knife's edge of history, unknowingly about to plunge into the abyss of the deadliest conflict mankind has ever known. This is the era we're about to explore, the origins of World War II. Our journey will lead us through a maze of political maneuvering, economic upheaval, and social unrest that marked this pivotal decade. From the halls of power in Berlin, Rome, and Tokyo, to the battlefields of Poland and France, we'll trace the steps that led humanity to World War II. Today we're diving deep into the tangled web of events that led to the outbreak of World War II. Our story begins with the Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919. This peace accord, marking the end of the First World War, was not as successful as the victors had hoped. Instead of fostering a lasting peace, it laid the groundwork for future conflict. The treaty placed full blame for the war on Germany, demanding hefty reparations that strained an already fragile German economy. This economic burden proved to be a catalyst for widespread discontent and resentment among the German people. The seeds of resentment were deeply sown, providing fertile ground for extremist ideologies to take root. In the midst of this economic turmoil, a new political force emerged. Adolf Hitler's National Socialist German Workers' Party, more commonly known as the Nazi Party. Using the economic hardship and national humiliation as a rallying cry, Hitler began to gather a significant following. The resentment created by the Treaty of Versailles had found its voice in this charismatic yet dangerous leader. But Germany wasn't the only nation where discontent was brewing. Across the Atlantic in Italy, a similar story was unfolding. Benito Mussolini and his fascist party were gaining momentum, capitalizing on Italy's post-war disappointment and social unrest. Mussolini, like Hitler, sought to restore national pride and turn Italy into a global power. The island nation of Japan, too, harbored ambitions of expansion. Dissatisfied with the global power structure and driven by a desire for economic self-sufficiency, Japan pursued a policy of aggressive expansion in Asia. This move set them on a collision course with Western interests, further complicating an already volatile global situation. In summary, the Treaty of Versailles, intended to secure peace, instead sowed the seeds of resentment in Germany, Italy, and Japan. These seeds would later sprout into a dangerous thicket of aggression and expansion, setting the stage for the most devastating conflict in human history. Meanwhile, in Italy and Japan, ambitious leaders sought to assert their dominance on the world stage. In Germany, Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party rose to power, exploiting the discontent of the German people. The nation, battered by the punitive terms of the Treaty of Versailles and the economic hardship of the Great Depression, was ripe for the rise of a charismatic leader promising a return to glory. Hitler's fiery speeches and his vision of a racially pure, globally dominant Germany resonated with many Germans, leading to his appointment as chancellor in 1933. Meanwhile, in Italy, Benito Mussolini had already established his fascist regime. Like Hitler, Mussolini exploited his nation's grievances from the First World War and the economic turmoil of the interwar period. He promised a return to the grandeur of the Roman Empire, and his authoritarian rule appealed to Italians disillusioned with their nation's political chaos and social unrest. Both Hitler and Mussolini harbored expansionist ambitions. Hitler sought to unite all German-speaking people in a single nation, and to secure additional living space for the Germanic race. Mussolini, on the other hand, desired to create a new Roman Empire, starting with the conquest of Ethiopia in 1935. Their aggressive foreign policies, however, were met with a tepid response from the Western powers. Britain and France, still bearing the scars of the First World War, were keen on avoiding another global conflict. They pursued a policy of appeasement, hoping to satisfy the aggressors' demands and maintain peace. However, this policy only served to embolden Hitler and Mussolini, who saw it as a sign of weakness and an opportunity to further their territorial ambitions. As tensions mounted, Western powers pursued a policy of appeasement, hoping to avoid another devastating conflict. Yet the policy of appeasement proved to be a disastrous miscalculation. Hitler's invasion of Czechoslovakia in 1938 and his subsequent attack on Poland in 1939 marked the beginning of World War II, shattering any illusions of peace. The rise of the aggressors had set the stage for the deadliest conflict in human history. In September 1939, Hitler's invasion of Poland sparked the beginning of World War II. The world watched in shock as Germany, with its formidable military might, overran Poland in a matter of weeks. This flagrant act of aggression marked the end of appeasement and the start of a global conflict that would ultimately claim the lives of over 50 million people. The invasion of Poland was not an isolated incident, but the culmination of a series of aggressive acts by expansionist powers. Over the course of the 1930s, the world had watched with growing unease as Germany, Italy, and Japan pursued their territorial ambitions. The failure of the League of Nations to maintain international peace and security, coupled with the policy of appeasement pursued by Britain and France, had emboldened the aggressors, setting the stage for a worldwide conflict. The outbreak of World War II was not just the result of political and military decisions. It was also a consequence of economic instability, social unrest, and ideological extremism. The Great Depression of the 1930s had created fertile ground for radical ideologies, while the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles had sown the seeds of resentment in Germany. These factors, combined with the failure of diplomacy, led to the most devastating conflict in human history. But the story doesn't end there. Over the next 6 years, the world would witness a series of epic battles, heroic acts, and unimaginable tragedies. From the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific, from the deserts of North Africa to the frozen tundra of Russia, the world would be forever changed by the events of World War II. Join us next time as we explore the battles, heroes, and tragedies of World War II. We'll delve into the strategies, the technologies, and the human stories that shaped this pivotal period in history. Until then, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the past. Stay curious.